Hey buddies, PotatoMcWhiskey here, and this is my first impressions and analysis of the new civilization in Civ 6 Gathering Storm, Canada.
Wilfrid Laurier leads Canada in Civilization 6 Gathering Storm. He was the 7th Prime Minister of Canada and is remembered today for his charismatic personality and his focus on Canadian unity and expansion. Wilfrid Laurier's leader ability is the last best west. Farms can be built in Tundra, and after researching civil engineering, can also be built on Tundra hills.
Okay, that's interesting. This is something I think a lot of us kind of expected due to the speculation that was going on with Canada. One thing I did notice there, just from quickly glancing there, it did seem like they didn't get any extra bonuses for building farms on Tundra. It just seems to be that they can build farms on Tundra. Now, one worry I have with that is maybe not exactly like the Russia bonus. This isn't going to make it so that you want to settle Tundra. It's going to just simply make Tundra less bad for you to settle on because you can actually build farms. That's not as powerful as I was hoping that ability was going to be, because it's going to go to be a 2 food tile, so a worker is going to be sort of quote unquote breaking even on a Tundra tile. You know, a worker costs 2 food to maintain, and you'll only be getting 2 food from working a Tundra tile. Now, of course, that will change when you get to stuff like feudalism and replaceable parts, when farms get extra bonuses from having adjacent farms. But I'm pretty sure this is they're going to need some more Tundra bonuses, I really feel like, to make it worthwhile to settle. Otherwise, I'm thinking it's just going to be less of a penalty to settle on Tundra. Yeah, I think this is going to be interesting, because if one of the things about Tundra in the game is that it's not great to settle on, and you're going to have some trouble. But the advantage of having bonuses towards Tundra is that a lot of other civilizations are not going to want to settle Tundra, whereas as Canada, you just are penalized less for settling on Tundra. So that could be useful, meaning you have somewhat guaranteed land that you're not going to be competed for. I feel like their success on Tundra is going to be tied to them getting access to an early natural wonder of some kind, maybe like that Icelandic mountain, Ayurfurukul, or whatever it's called. I don't know how to pronounce it. Or the Tsingy, which I think spawns on Tundra pretty regularly. Or that other one that's like a 4-tile wonder that is made of rocks and weird red trees. I can't remember the name of it. But yeah, I think they're going to be pretty... I feel like they're going to be pretty dependent on getting access to a natural wonder in Tundra to be useful. And that's just to kind of put them on par with other civilizations. So we'll have to have a look and see what their other bonuses are.
The cost of purchasing snow and tundra tiles is reduced.
Okay, that's actually a pretty huge reduction. Normally, tiles, you can see here the normal buying a 3rd ring tile is 85 gold, whereas it looks like it's about a 50% discount for Canada to buy Tundra tiles. That can actually be pretty useful in order for you to purchase particularly good tiles, like maybe deer tiles on Tundra, iron, for example, and hills and maybe forests on river and stuff like that. So that's going to help them out quite a bit on the old Tundra front. So that's another bonus towards Tundra. That makes it a little bit better. I don't think it fully sort of is quite yet making up for all of the downsides of Tundra, but it's getting there.
And he receives double extraction of all consumable resources, such as iron, on snow and tundra tiles.
Okay, that's pretty good. I imagine we don't know exactly how valuable extra extraction will be from strategic resources, but that seems like pretty okay. Like that's three reasonably good bonuses now, working towards them not suffering quite as bad on Tundra. So I think they will perform quite well on Tundra compared to a normal civilization, but I'm not sure that it outstrips Russia's bonuses yet.
Canada's unique improvement is the ice hockey rink. It can only be built in tundra or snow, and only one may be built per city. It provides appeal and amenities, plus culture based on adjacent snow and tundra tiles. Unlocking flight adds tourism, and unlocking professional sports adds production and food. It also provides culture if adjacent to a stadium building.
So let's go back there real quick. So it looks like it produces 6 base culture, which is really, really strong. Now, we don't know exactly when it's unlocked, but I imagine it's going to be somewhere in the industrial era or later, because we can see here that they are researching computers and environmentalism, which I can assume are new buildings. You can also see here solar farms. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Getting another +2 food and +2 production at professional sports is helpful. It basically means that in the late game, Canada is pretty much guaranteed to have at least one really strong tile in each of their tundra cities, which is another kind of bonus towards settling on tundra. So that's 4 bonuses sort of now working together, and it also gives them an incentive to build entertainment districts, which are quite good for going for a tourism victory. That's quite helpful. I do think that these bonuses come pretty late into the game, but they will be able to generate a decent amount of appeal. And Tundra is actually quite good for building it, for generating tourism and appeal, because you can just fill it up with forests and then plop down national parks. So we'll see about how that's all working. But these look like fairly well-rounded, reasonable bonuses all coming together at this moment. And that looks like some sort of yield. Is that an existing natural wonder up there? Does that already exist? I can't tell. Oh, you know what it might be? They might have changed how that that Icelandic volcano natural wonder works, because it looks like a lot of the yields are asymmetric, so it might have erupted a few times and left extra yields on these tiles.
Canada's unique ability is 4 faces of peace.
So let's take a moment here to just analyze this. Or, you know what, I'm going to let the video play through and then we'll analyze more.
Of peace. They cannot declare surprise wars or be the target of one. They also receive extra favor for successfully completing an emergency, and additional favor based on their tourism.
Okay.
Their unique unit is the Mountie. This light cavalry unit has the ability to create a national park. It also receives...
That's really powerful. Now, one thing I did just quickly notice there, when you click on it, it does seem to consume the unit. And that seems pretty reasonable, because you can see it doesn't actually have... normally when a unit can build a thing, it has build charges. Being able to build national parks with a military unit is actually an incredibly powerful bonus, especially because you might be able to... what's the word I'm looking for? You might be able to expend... normally, the only way to get national parks is to spend faith, right? Whereas if you can buy this unit with gold, that's a way for you to convert gold into national parks, or production into national parks, which is something that is quite difficult to do right now. So Canada is certainly going to have some really good bonuses towards building national parks in the late game. So it seems like a lot of their bonuses are geared towards more later in the game, at least so far at a glance. The not being able to declare war and getting extra diplomatic points, I don't really know what the value of diplomatic points are right now, but we'll have to spend a bit of time talking and thinking about that.
National park. It also receives a strength bonus when fighting close to any national park, and an even higher strength bonus when fighting near Canadian-owned national parks.
Okay, that seems pretty reasonably good.
As Canada, you can take advantage of the icy landscape that most other civilizations will ignore. But should you fall under attack, your Mounties are powerful defenders. Canada is built for a strong culture victory, and can make a good run at a diplomatic victory as well. Be sure to join as many emergencies as possible to take full advantage of their diplomatic strengths. Will you guide the world with your sunny ways from the Great White North? How will you lead Canada in Sid Meier's Civilization VI Gathering Storm?
Okay, so my very, very first impression here is that Canada doesn't look to be incredibly strong, and I'll quickly explain why. It's because a lot of their bonuses are geared toward the late game. And just by virtue of the fact that bonuses that activate early allow you to take advantage of them for longer, which has a snowballing effect, civilizations whose bonuses come active earlier in the game are typically going to be stronger. Now, I'm not saying they're weak, but, you know, it's more of one of those things where They have some interesting bonuses, but the situations and just way people play mean that those bonuses activate pretty late into the game. And by that point, somebody whose bonuses come earlier in the game might have outpaced them. Now, if they can survive to the late game and have a reasonable setup, I think they could become a very strong civilization. But I think it's quite dangerous, particularly in multiplayer, to play a civilization geared toward the late game. Just because you have so many turns where somebody else has an advantage over you. So let's head back and take a scan through the video where we can talk about the various things. I think I talked about these Tundra farms quite a good bit. I don't really need to talk about them much more. Extra food on Tundra is nice, but I don't think this bonus alone outpaces the Russians +1 production +1 fate they get on Tundra. It's reasonably nice to be able to build farms. The extra housing is going to be nice, and the extra food is going to be nice. I think, again, this is more of a mid to late bonus where you just get a bit of extra food and you can sort of survive in Tundra better than any other civilization. So again, that'll be nice because they probably won't be getting much competition for Tundra just because they get more value out of it. And there was... We talked about that bonus quite a bit. So there's a couple of things I want to look for here. Let's do a little bit of a video analysis. Look for any extra stuff that we haven't seen mentioned. Looks like, I can't tell if that's a new wonder. It looks like it definitely is a new wonder on the pottery civic. And I don't see anything else. So I don't know what that wonder is going to be, but I think we've seen it before. I can't remember what it was called. It was like the Great Bath or something probably. I can't remember, but we have actually talked about this. Let's see, any other texts here? We've got printing. It looks like there's a second. Am I crazy?
Engineering.
No, okay. Yeah, it looks like printing is fairly the same. I'm not seeing anything really unique.
Can also be built on Tundra hills.
There's no new improvements.
The cost of purchasing snow and Tundra tiles is reduced.
We've got apprenticeship that looks fairly standard. Civil service. This definitely looks like a new wonder. I don't know what wonder it is, but that's got to be a new wonder. I wonder if we can figure what that out is based on just glancing at it.
And he receives double extraction of all consumable resources, such as iron, on snow and Tundra tiles. This unique improvement.
I do really like the hockey rink. It kind of has the same sort of flavor as the golf. The golf court that the Scottish have, but slightly better. World's Fair, compete for the highest score. This looks like some sort of event or diplomatic event type thing, which is interesting. I'm also seeing this might be a new building. Nothing particularly new at flight. This looks new, whatever that is. That looks interesting. Professional sports. I'm not sure what that is. It looks like a forest with an airplane, maybe? Something like that. That looks like it might be some sort of new tile improvement. I'm not sure what it will be.
And unlocking professional sports adds production and food. It also provides culture.
Then there looks like there's a new building at computers. I can only assume this is some power-related computer or something, or a power-related building. Although that's kind of speculation on my part.
If adjacent to a stadium building. Canada's unique ability is
Let's take a moment here to talk about these bonuses as a sort of group. Right, we've got allows farms to be built on Tundra terrain. After civil engineering, they can be built on hills. Reduce the cost of purchasing snow, Tundra by 50%, 100% extra extraction. So as a bonus, this bonus is reasonable. I wouldn't say it's super strong, but I think it's consistently okay. Like, it's consistently going to help you out a bit in the game. I think on Tundra, it's a very strong bonus for Tundra, but I don't know if it's a very strong bonus in relative to some of the other stronger bonuses that we have in the game. 4 Faces of Peace cannot declare war on city-states or surprise wars. Surprise wars cannot be declared on Canada. For every 100 tourism, earn 1 diplomatic favour. Receive 100% diplomatic favour from successfully completing an emergency or scored competition. So, not being able to declare surprise wars, I don't know if that's going to apply to where you, what's the word? Where you denounce somebody and then declare a formal war. I don't know if that applies to that too. I will assume for now that this only applies to surprise war and city states. So this is going to make Canada able to still be able to go to war how they like, but they're going to have a little bit of warning, and they're going to know who they're going to war with beforehand, right? People can't just randomly declare war on you unless it's an emergency. You can't just randomly declare war on people unless it's an emergency. So this is a reasonably good bonus already. Being able to sidestep war declarations is quite powerful. And being forewarned that somebody has the potential to declare war on you is also very useful. Being immune to surprise wars is it's helpful, because especially in multiplayer, actually, because if a player has to denounce you to declare a formal war, you get 5 turns of notice that they're looking to go to war with you. For every 100 tourism, you earn 1 diplomatic favor. I don't know what the value is of diplomatic favor, but I can only assume that it's used towards the diplomatic victory, so it will be quite powerful and useful. Getting an extra 100% diplomatic favor from completing emergencies or scored competitions. I don't really know what scored competitions are or how much diplomatic favor you get from completing an emergency, but so far I'm seeing that Canada looks pretty geared towards taking advantage of terrain that other civilizations don't want to take advantage of or can't take advantage of, and then using that to transition into some sort of culture / diplomatic victory. They also get the Mountie, which is a Canadian unique modern era unit. I think this is overall pretty strong, but it's hard to analyze diplomatic favor when we just don't know too much about how it works exactly. The Mountie is a unique modern era unit. I assume that is going to be a replacement or precursor to heavy or helicopters or cavalry or something like that. It's going to be based around those units. +5 combat strength when fighting in national parks, and an extra 5 if it's your national park. I think the most significant part of this bonus is being able to create a national park, in particular because national parks generate tourism, which are going to generate you diplomatic favor, and that diplomatic favor is going to be extremely useful towards a diplomatic victory. We can only assume. I think generally speaking, this is not going to be a very strong unit, and you're mostly going to build it for national parks. This does give Canada the option to not have to go for a religion to get national parks, so that's quite powerful. That could actually help out their early game, although there are some strong pantheons with regards to religion, especially on Tundra. You know, you could place your holy sites on Tundra and get +6 adjacency bonuses from the Dance of the Aurora. The Dance of the Aurora is that a pantheon or a follower belief? I can't remember, but +6 you know, and they're going to have a Tundra bias, I can only assume, so they could be quite good for either going for a religion game if they get the right beliefs, or ignoring a religion game and getting advantage of national parks. Anyway, the ice hockey rink is also another really nice bonus, I think. It gives you +1 amenity, +1 culture for each adjacent tundra and tundra hills and snow. Okay, so that's another benefit actually towards Tundra that I wasn't really thinking about there. So it looks like they're very, very geared towards taking advantage of subpar land. Getting tourism and culture once flight is unlocked. Tourism from culture once flight is unlocked. +2 food and production when the professional sports civic is unlocked. And +4 culture if adjacent to a stadium. Can be built on thingies, and it gives appeal too. So very much so. These look like reasonably strong and interesting bonuses. I don't think they're going to be... I don't think they're quite on par with like converting builders in or converting enemy units into builders like the Aztec Eagle Warrior can do. But I think these are reasonably strong builders where if you can get a game going undisturbed, and you're more likely to be undisturbed thanks to the four faces of peace, because people will have a harder time declaring war on you. Canada is going to be... I think they've done a good job of positioning Canada to be able to actually take advantage of these late game bonuses. So I think I'm actually quite okay with a lot of the fact that a lot of their early game is maybe not exactly super powerful.
Faces of peace.
So let's see if we can find anything else new in here. Looks like this is some sort of... I can only assume that this is burning coal to generate power. There is a new building in here. I'm going to assume that that's a coal power station. And then we have, looks like the Mountie is unlocked at conservation, and so is the naturalist. Looks like it might be some sort of scored competition, an aid request. It has a similar look to an emergency, but it's not an emergency because it doesn't have the symbol that emergencies uses, I think, which are like a circle with a targeting reticule type thing. This is an aid request. Okay, so Victoria was hit by a natural disaster. Will gain prestige in the World Congress. So I don't know how this is scored. But you... Oh, okay, so this is really good. You get a diplomatic victory point for doing this. Now, we don't know how many you need to win, but getting one is really, really powerful, especially as a civilization like Canada, where you can... where you have bonuses towards that. And getting extra diplomatic victory points from these sort of scored things and extra diplomatic favor could be really powerful for Canada going for a diplomatic victory. Let's have a look at what else we've got going on here. Just kind of scan through the video. So here is electricity. We know what this building is. That's the seaport. We don't know what these two buildings are. I'm going to guess that these are like hydroelectric dams and something else. This, I'm not sure what this is. This looks like a new source of power, perhaps some sort of generator. My assumption here is that one of these would be a dam and the other one would be like a hydroelectric plant. Then nationalism looks unchanged.
The unit has the ability to create a national park. It also receives a stress when fighting national park and bonus advantage of the icy landscape that...
So can we spot any more stuff? I think there was something I wanted to talk about. Yeah, this mountain here, I'm pretty sure that is the what you call it from the Iceland, although it might not be. I'm not sure. I don't remember. It seemed to have different yields, although they did say they were updating some of the volcano natural wonders to incorporate some of the mechanics from Gathering Storm. Also, something else worth mentioning is that there will be snowstorms in Tundra lands, so you might actually get extra yields on your Tundra tiles, which will help you out as playing the Canadians. Now, there was a screen further on in the video that I really wanted to take a look at, and I think it was the diplomatic victory screen, although we'll take a moment here. Steel looks unchanged. Cultural hegemony, that looks like a new... That looks like a new civic. Not sure. It looks like they're generating a lot of culture and not much science, so this might be a very late game civic. They've also got climate accords. This looks like some sort of scored competition. Where's the screen? Here we go. So this is the World Congress screen, and this has some really interesting information in it. Diplomatic victory. Chosen player gains 2 diplomatic victory points. I don't see a list of who has diplomatic victory points and how many they need, so it's hard to garner how much that's worth. However, the World Games competition proposal is interesting too. You gain score by completing training athletes projects, maintaining stadiums, maintaining aquatic centers, and you have... it looks like the reward here is +2 tourism from each campus. So that's quite powerful. I do really like that these competitions not only give you whatever bonuses they give you, but getting extra, these are really interesting bonuses as well. And this is something I've been talking about Civilization 6 for a while, is that there seems to be a lack of a way to sort of change the landscape of your civilization in terms of its bonuses and being able to gain a bonus from the World Congress. Like, even if it's only +2 tourism from campuses, right? Let's say you have 7 cities and 7 campuses, that's 14 tourism, right? But it's not completely ignorable. It's not amazing, but it's like a nice little benefit. It also depends if you keep getting the other bonuses that are down there. I don't know what they would be.
Strong culture victory and can make a good run at a diplomatic.
But it looks like if this is just purely if purely being able to just sort of brute force these votes through with your diplomatic favor, it seems like the Canadians are going to be quite strong at winning a diplomatic victory.
Be sure to join as many emergencies as possible to take...
Okay, there was a screen here we wanted to take a moment to look at. So it looks like they won and they got the 2 diplomatic victory points. And it looks like this passed as well. The outcome was chosen. So a luxury policy. Duplicates of the chosen luxury resource grant amenities and the chosen target is silver. That's really cool. This is another thing that people have talked about pretty much since the launch of Civilization 6. It's like, why don't extra copies of luxuries give you extra amenities? And I don't know how many amenities it will be, but if it's like the full amenities, this could be incredibly powerful. Patronage, earn double points towards great people of this class, great artists. This could also be really, really powerful. I don't really think this solves the problem of great person snowballing, where if you just have a massive amount of great people points, you're going to get all of them. This is just going to double the speed at which one player gets all of the great people. We also have the diplomatic victory. What else? There was some stuff further on, right? And then there was the World Games Pass, and it showed you who had voted for it. Very, very cool. Yeah, it doesn't say how many you need or anything like that. But overall, I think my impression of Canada is that they are a pretty strong civilization in the late game. I think they're going to have a fairly rocky and rough start, but they're going to have a less rocky and less rough start than most other civilizations would have on Tundra. I think they have a few things going for them that are really, really helpful, and I think overall they're going to be a ton of fun to play and very interesting. I love that the team at Firaxis are taking a new approach. Well, not necessarily new, but they're definitely sort of landing in a particular direction when it comes to designing civilizations. Like, you take away a core mechanic of the game and then you build a civilization around that. So like Canada can't declare surprise wars or have surprise wars declared upon them, so you take that as like, this is what they can't do, now let's give them a bunch of really interesting things that they can do that play around that bonus. And so it seems like Canada is very hard to surprise, and they have a lot of bonuses for not being at war, right? Because as Canada, you're going to want a sim city. I think that's going to be very, very fun. I would estimate that Canada is a really good pacifist civ where you just sit in the back and you power up for the late game. And one of the big advantages of playing Canada is because you can have surprise wars declared on you, you probably don't need to maintain as big of a military as another civilization would. You can kind of get away with just having a little, like, less units. Which is really, really interesting. I'm kind of excited at the prospect of playing Canada. I don't know if they're as strong as the Maori, but I think there's a lot of mechanics changing in Gathering Storm. So do take these analyses with a pinch of salt. I'm mostly analyzing these from the perspective of Rise and Fall and all that sort of stuff. So I am going to get some stuff wrong because there's a lot of things changing about the game, and we might actually, we might not know how things will turn out. But this is just sort of my opinion. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please remember to subscribe if you want to see more videos from me. Remember to leave a like if you want to directly support my channel, and remember to leave a comment if you want to give me your feedback. I love you all very much, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.